Daniel Wahome, and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 6th day of November 2023, and the year is coming to a close. But we keep rolling on with all the news that's happening, and we're talking sport and also what's happening out there. So we're going to be taking a look at, first of all, before we get into sporting conversations, a look at what is in our news diary today. So starting off with that, we've got the flag off of the mobile clinics at State House, Nairobi, and Kasichana Masha is our reporter at State House. So she is going to be keeping us up to date as that event happens, as His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto, is going to be flagging off the mobile clinics. And also we've got the 27th International Association of Peacekeeping Training Centers Conference. This is happening in Westlands, Nairobi. This is also an event that is going to be graced by the President. And also, we've got the National Dialogue Committee Roundtable, and this is happening at the Bomas of Kenya. Our reporter at that event is Abdiaziz Hashim. We've got the Parliamentary Committee meetings. Those are happening at Parliament buildings and within the precincts of Parliament. And also, we have got the 8th African Public Sector Human Resource Managers Network Annual Capacity Building Conference. This is happening at the Kenya School of Government in Nairobi. We also have got the official launch of the Mama Lucy Kibaki Eye Hospital at the Umoja 2 Annex. So that is just part of the stories that we're going to be keeping up with. And also, looking at other issues in the fields of business and sport, and also in our later bulletins today, we shall also be taking a look at our features desk, what they have prepared for you. So 2 sporting conversations that we are going to be having today. First of all, we've got rugby league. I know yesterday when it comes to the sport that is known as rugby, the Simbas lost to the Uganda Rugby Cranes 21-20 in the Victoria Cup, and that was also the first leg of the Elgon Cup. So the second leg will be played in Kisumu over the weekend. That brings you up to speed with rugby. But there is rugby league. 13-a-side rugby. We've got a Kenyan team that is traveling to South Africa tomorrow, and they'll be playing 2 test matches against their hosts on Wednesday and on Saturday. So we're going to be hosting them later today. And those who are going to be joining us from the Kenya Rugby League Federation are going to be the team manager of the Kenya Rugby League team, Damina Duffield. We've got Denish Ninya, we've got Ramadan Basete, Ido Kuta, and Paul Seda. But we'll start our conversation with the sport of darts. And in studio already, I've got 2 gentlemen with me. And just about 6 weeks ago, they were in South Africa for the Africa Darts series. And they played 2 competitions. First of all was the Africa Continental Tour, and also the World Championship qualifiers in South Africa. And on my immediate left, we've got the Secretary General of the Africa Darts Series, Buffaloes. That is a team that plays.
Nathan Jero.
Nathan.
A player, he's a player.
And actually a player, Nathan Jero, who is a player with the ADS Buffaloes. And we've got the chair of the ADS Buffaloes, who has been here before, Jeff Moridi. Jeff.
Yes.
Nathan.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And let me just start with you, Jeff. Just taking a look at the ADS Buffaloes and also looking at how you built up to the 2 competitions, the Continental Tour and also the qualifiers. Just give us a background on that build-up and overall before you even get on to the results.
Okay, actually the African Darts Series is a darts league that was started this year. We started in February. This is organized by the ADG. ADG is the Africa Darts Group. It's based in South Africa and it's headed by Devon Peterson. Actually, ADS Buffaloes was formed last year in December. And we were able to form a league. We have 3 leagues that we play across Africa. We have under Buffaloes, we have 3 leagues. That is the Elite, the Pro Elite, and the Super League. This is based on the players' abilities. And actually, Buffaloes is mandated to run ADG events in Kenya. And of course, even in East Africa, we don't have any other ADG representatives. So we are mandated to do that. And as you mentioned, we participated in South Africa for the ACT. The ACT is the Africa Continental Tour. And also the PDC World Championship qualifier for Africa. We are able to take 7 players.
Of which PDC in full
is the Professional Darts Corporation. Is the biggest darts events event in the world. So we had gone for the qualifier. It's only one player from Africa that qualifies. So we didn't have any player from Kenya who qualified, but we were able to reach the quarters, being our first tournament. And actually the players did very well in both events. We had representatives in the quarters and also in the last 16.
And actually, when you talk about the quarterfinals, we'll be talking about Evans, Ngari, and also
Evans Tuguna and Benson
yes.
Ngari.
Yes, and so we'll be talking about them and how they played. Now, Nathan, let me just come to you and let's talk about this sport and you getting into it, plus also the perception that it carries because of where it is normally played. It is not you. I know there are those who play at where it is played in social halls, but there are those who see it as a public house sport. Just getting into it.
Thank you very much, Bana Wahome. That is very true. According to the perspective of different people, generally many people think that darts is played in bars, in the clubs, but we really have to change that perception because it is even played by young gentlemen, young ladies. Therefore, we can't even allow them to take alcohol. So it is not necessary that it has to be played in a club or in a bar. It can as well be played in churches. We have several churches who have got dartboards. It is also played in social halls. So everything has changed the perception now as we stand.
And for you, your journey, and also, by the way, Jeff, I know you've got a set of darts there, so you can be preparing them, so that we're able to understand some of the equipment you use. Just tell us about that. And I can see that you're also pulling yours out of the pocket.
Yeah. We use these darts as our day-to-day routine, especially when we are free. And dart is a game that is played with the 3 missiles called darts, which are thrown into a dartboard, which is divided into different segments of different colors, and each segment carries different marks. Or in all, other than 1, 2, 3, 4, it is ranging from number 1 to number 20, and they are divided into different segments in different portions, which are not arranged in series. It is mixed up. We have 21. On the left, you have 5. We have then from 1 you go to 18. From 5 you go to number 8. They are mixed up. So they are not arranged 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which will give an advantage to the person who is able to target his score.
All right. Now, and also looking at the challenge that comes with that and how people play the sport. Let me simply just think of that when you're playing that sport and how you pick up the dartboard, because we've got something that is going on at the moment, and there are 3 rings excluding the 25, which is right at the middle. Just give a concept on that.
The dart is divided into different rings.
Yes.
We have the outer ring, which carries the double marks of the value that is on top or which is on the side. If you hit, for example, where we have number 20, you hit the outer ring, that will be double 20. That is 40 marks. The inner ring, that is the central ring, carries 3 times of the marks, that is which is on top there. That is, if you go to house number 20, if you hit the inner, that is the central, the middle ring, that will be 20 times 3. That will give that, and that is where people look for marks because it has the highest scores.
Now, also when it comes to scoring, and Jeff, we could go, we could come to this, is that there is the average score. There is what they say is that a good player can play this game in 9 darts,
yes,
or 5 or 1.
Yes.
But let's just talk about the average scoring, and you can put this to us.
Actually, even in our league, we divide the leagues according to the players' abilities. So if you can hit 70 average with 3 darts throughout the game, then you play the highest league, which is the Pro Elite. And if your ability is below 60, then you'll play the Elite League, and then probably anything below 59, then you'll play the Super League.
Okay,
and actually,
let's just talk about the accuracy, because we've got the board on the screen right now.
Yes.
When somebody who's averaging 70, where would this darts land?
And actually, what is on the screen is the final of the PDC Africa qualifier. The players there is Stefan Viermark, and we also have Simon Adams, who qualified. He beat Stefan 8-0. But actually, what you are saying about the average, so you can see the players are focusing on 20.
Yes.
So most of the players that play in the high league and the professionals, they will focus on the triple 20. If you focus on the triple 20 and you throw 3 darts on the triple 20, you get 180. And probably the next throw, you just hit one of the triples. So ideally, throughout the match, Simon Adams averaged over 80. That means that he was hitting at least 1 triple every visit. So for a professional darts player, you have to focus on the triples so that you can lower your marks from 5-1 as fast as possible before your opponent. And actually, in the elite players who play the PDC World Championship, they actually play an average of 100 and above for you to be able to be contention of winning.
Now, here comes now the other one about this sport. It is where to finish, you must use a double.
Sure.
You must have a double of anything. So how do you go through your one game, starting at 5-1, going down, and keeping, because you've got to do your mental math?
Actually, you mentioned about the 9 darts. For you to finish with 9 darts, you have to hit perfect darts for the first visit. That would be 180 or 174 or 177. The next visit, you have to hit 180, 174 or 177.
Okay.
Now you remain with either 141 or 144. So for 144, you hit 2 triple 20s and double 12. That is 144. You have to hit with a double. If you have 141, you hit triple 20, triple 19 and double 12.
Nathan.
Yes.
Just take us through that again. I mean, just explain that, because you've got the board here. So you do the 177 that he has mentioned, and the 174. Just explain that. Going by the board that we have on the screen at the moment.
Thank you very much. Before I get to the finish, I want to add something on the average. The average depends on the amount, the number of darts that you use to finish the game. Okay, the lesser the number of darts you use, the higher the average is, depending on the high scores that you are making. Because you can, you can be able to finish with at least or at most 12 darts. You are good to go, and you are above 70 average. Now, to the finish, the game starts with 501, whereby you have to reduce from 501 until you finish with the closest double possible, with the least darts possible. Now, if you hit 180, you will have a balance of 321. That is the first throw. Those are 3 darts. If you hit another 180, that's a total of 360. 360.
So you have 141.
So you have a balance of 141. So you make sure that you finish that 141 in 3 darts. How do you do it? You hit triple 20, that is 60. That will be a balance of, if you take 60,
81.
You have a balance of 81. So there are those who go to triple 15, that is 45 scores. Then you finish with the double 18, that is 36. Others go for triple 57, that is, triple 19, triple 19. so that you have 57, a balance of 24. So you hit double 12.
And let me come to you, Jeff.
Yes.
And because the numbers, like you mentioned, they're not in sequence.
Yes.
They're randomly distributed.
Yes.
So what's the right way to focus when you're playing this sport? So that you know, for example, 20 is up there, but 19 is somewhere down here.
Yes.
Same as, I think, 18 and 19 and all those numbers.
For a first person to, if you are playing for the first time, it looks very easy to focus on the high scores. But actually, the game of darts is scientific and it's an art. So you have to have the right stance. You start with the stance, the way you stand on the hockey line. The hockey line is where the line that you cannot pass when you're throwing.
What's the distance, by the way, between?
Is 2.37 meters from the board.
That is basically 8 feet.
Actually, yes, it's sort of. I am not very good with the imperial measurements, but I know that in meters it's 2.37. And again, when you're standing, you have to align your body to the board and to where you're scoring. So actually, you have to practice this game on a daily basis for you to be good. There is something called a muscle memory. For you to be able to focus on the 20 and the high scores, you have to practice every day, and a minimum of maybe 1 hour for you to be a professional player, because you can be spending maybe 1 hour in the evening or 1 hour in the morning before you go to work. And actually now that's how you develop the game. You cannot just start, you cannot be playing darts maybe once a week or maybe once in a month and you will not get good. It's like any other sport. It's practice, practice and practice.
Well, I'll be asking you to maybe, and my director Brian, I'll be asking, Jeff to come here because he's explained about that stance and it's very important and about how you align yourself.
Yes.
Because I know for most people, if I may have one that, most people, when they play, what they will do is, there's how you'll do it. So I'm sure you can pick up maybe one of your darts.
Yes.
And I will be asking him, Jeff, to come here. And you can come around this way so that you can explain that. And now, okay, you're all right. You can have, you can pick your mic so that you can come in here and demonstrate that. Now, the other one is keeping the, knowing that that line has been drawn, and Nathan, this is for you, so that you can.
So how we address it?
Okay, you can stand. All right, here on my right, Jeff. They will be coming to you. So let me come to you, Nathan. So when someone is playing this, which are some of the do's and the don'ts when you are having your game going on?
Well, according to the rules and regulations, that is governed by rules and regulations. One, you should not go beyond the toe line. You should not go beyond the toe line. Secondly, you should, as we train for professionalism, we always advise people not to use your body, but use your hand. You use your hand to play, not your body. It's like, others play just like you're dancing. This is not a dance. Use your hand, just your hand, so that you can be able to get the target on that board.
Now, that is number one. Things not allowed when you're playing. It's mentioned before we get to Jeff and the stance and what you've mentioned about the hand movement rather than the body movement.
So there are a number of things that are don'ts. One, you should not chew when you are playing.
High school.
Two, you don't allow alcohol in the arena, in the playing ground.
Okay, this station used to have a festival of darts. In fact, John Munyu, he plays for your team. He's a legend.
Very true, very true. In fact, he is my mentor. John Munyu is my mentor. So they used to have different, as we talked of perspective. You are not supposed to take any alcohol when you are playing. That is in the venue. Others, others may take them from elsewhere, but not within the venue. And you should not even chew. Whenever you got chewing and you are playing, you'll be led to throw your first dart, second dart, the third dart, then you're told game is over. you've been disqualified.
For having chewing gum?
Having chewing in your
Okay, I'll find out why, because I tend to see why that, I mean, there are people who chew so that they can keep their tension down. Now, let's come to you, Jeff. So you can demonstrate. There's something that Nathan has mentioned, one about the hand movement, but now just explain, practically about what you were saying about how you do your positioning and then also how you do the hand movement.
Okay, assuming here this is the hockey line, you come, approach the hockey line, you align yourself to the board. The best way to do it is to make sure your body is straight to the board and where you're focusing. Then you have 3 darts. So what you do, you align yourself to the hockey line. Then, as Nathan mentioned, you don't use your body to throw. There are people who do like this, like that. So for you to focus properly, you just use your hand and make sure your hand stretches to the maximum, because that is called follow through. So when you do that, you allow your body is not moving. It's just your forearm that is moving. Now, many Kenyan players, we realize when we went to South Africa, we don't do the full follow through. We throw until this distance, and this will affect your accuracy. So for the muscle memory I talked about, you have, for any sport, even in golf, any sport, you have to have the follow through. Even in basketball, you have to follow through for you to be accurate. So ideally you come and then you align yourself and then you focus. You use your dominant eye to focus on your target. Then you throw and make sure your hand is fully stretched. But of course, when you're throwing, your dart you release your dart before, but again, the hand has to go all the way.
Now, let me just do some two things coming up.
Yes.
One is the dominant eye.
Yes.
How do you determine that? Because if I'm right-handed,
yes,
then which would be my dominant eye? Or if I'm left-handed, which is my dominant eye? And there are those who can use both hands.
And actually, your hand doesn't determine your dominant eye. Actually, the greatest player of darts, I believe, is Phil Taylor. He has won 16 trophies, World Championship trophies. The next person who has won is maybe 5. So I count him as the best player. But again, he's right-handed, but his dominant eye is the left. So he used to focus from this. You understand, from this eye.
All right.
So
now,
how do you determine?
By the way, it's very interesting that
Yes.
you mentioned that.
Yes.
So ideally, how do you get to know your dominant eye? Because these are things,
yes,
these are everyday things.
Yes. So what you do when you want to know your dominant eye, you pick your dart, make sure it's at the center, then you close one of your eye. If the dart moves, then that is not your dominant eye. So if you close the other eye and the dart doesn't move, then it means that is the eye that you should focus. You should always focus on. So you put the dart like this, you close one of your eyes. If it doesn't move, then you know the other eye is the dominant. If I close this eye, the dart has moved this side. So I cannot focus on this with this eye. I have to focus on my right eye.
Actually, I've just realized that when you are trying to do it on the screen, I just looked at it and I saw that your left eye is moving.
Yes.
So if you're right-handed and you've got this, how then do you position yourself? Because I've seen you.
So like Phil Taylor will come like this, and then now withdraw from here. So he'll focus. He has a very different way of throwing. So he'll come here and focus like this. But most of the people are right-handed people are right eye dominant. So you come here and then now focus from this eye and put on your target. Yes.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Now, the other one is, how then do you get to develop that follow-through technique? Because, I mean, you mentioned when you went to South Africa,
yes,
you had Evans making 2 quarterfinals.
Yes.
For the World Cup.
No, it was 2 different players.
2 different players.
Yes.
I mean, for the World Cup, for the World Championship qualifiers, and also for the African Tour.
So the follow-through comes with practice and coaching. So under ADS Buffaloes, we have developed, maybe we have picked a few players who can coach the others. One of them is Nathan Jero, seated next to you. And also we have players like John Munyui and also Kalsim and Prit. These are players that are able to follow through and can coach you in terms of how you stand, how you maybe approach the hockey line, all those things. They are things that you need coaching, because they need to see what you are doing and correct what you're doing. And again, I talked about practice. This follow through cannot come without practice. So you have to make sure every time you're practicing on your own, make sure that you are throwing and you're following through. Because you see, when you come to the game, you will just play the way you practice. So if you practice without the follow through, then it doesn't come. So you have to do it and practice and practice.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jeff. So you can come round.
Yes.
And now, Nathan, let me come to you. You know, when someone wants to pick up the sport, and let's go start with the simplest thing. This is, you know, there are those who will say, let me go through the darts. How does one start?
That's first, it starts with interest. And generally, it is, what makes me feel happy and encouraged by this game is that it is played when you are free, at your free time. It doesn't affect your work. So it is generally done in the evenings. When it comes to the games are done over the weekends. So not unless when we're having now, these are big games. Now, for you to start, one, you have interest in you. Secondly, you start by identifying either your weight and the weight of your darts. Even before you get to it, you start with the heaviest until you know, I'm not comfortable. So you go reducing. For example, myself, I began with 32 grams. Today I'm playing with 10 grams. And as time went on...
Jeff, how heavy are yours?
Mine are 22 grams. I started with 28. Then I went even to 20 and 21. I realized it's too light, but the perfect weight for me is 22.
So I began with 32 grams. So as time when I felt that I'm getting tired, damn tired, I'm not able to to make my target. So I was advised by our person who sells the dust to us and told me, Nathan, that is too heavy for you. As per your weight, it's too heavy. So can you try this? So I was given that weight number 18. So I played with it. So I went on improving. Then I went to that number 14 grams. So lastly, I just settled at 10 grams. Now, for this game, you must have several of games that you practice with for you to have it enjoyable to you. For example, there's a question that we had asked Mr. Jeff about these numbers are not evenly distributed, and we must have a way of mastering them. Where this number is, There's a game we call marathon. So marathon, when you get to the board, the marathon. This is now the training tactic. When you get to the board, you say the marathon is, we are 33 of us, we are hitting only house number 1. Only. Those are the marks that will be counted. You go to house number 2. So, number 1 is up there, 2 is down here.
Yes.
Okay? Then from there, you go, after you hit, if you miss number 1, when you're playing house number 1, no score. If you hit one once, that is 1 mark. If you hit it 3 times, those are 3 scores. If you hit it triple, those are 3 marks. Okay? So, with the time, you'll be able to know, oh, now I'm number 1, I'm number 6, number 7. Because it is evenly distributed. So with the time, you'll be getting to know, wow, it's enjoyable. If I'm targeting number 6, I get it. If I'm targeting number 5, I get it.
So, how do you sequence the marathon?
The marathon...
you use 1 to 20.
Actually, maybe if I can come in, what you are doing is a training game.
Yeah,
so you're trying to focus on a specific target. So you start with the 1 segment. So make sure all your 3 darts fall into that segment. You go to the next segment, which is number 2. Make sure all your 3 darts fall into that segment. So that way you are training yourself to be accurate in your throw.
So ideally, let me just take a look at this, because you're calling it, for example, number 1, which is to the right of 20.
Yeah.
So that's house is where you got to do 3 darts.
Yes. And no dart should be out of... For you to go to the next segment, all the 3 darts.
Yes.
That's how you train. That's how you train.
Wow. That looks like
And actually, if you look at the players that are playing, and I don't know if the director can also put the video for Nathan when he was playing against the South African guy, you'll see that probably Nathan at that time, maybe he was not doing follow-through, but I know he's doing follow-through now. You will see that these guys are following through up to the end. And actually, I think that is the edge that they had over us. And I'm sure for the next ACT or the World Championship qualifier, we'll have a Kenyan that will be representing. And actually, talking about ACT and the PDC qualifier, we are talking with ADG to see whether we can have an East African qualifier. Next year, we'll have definitely an ACT in Kenya, hosted in Kenya, and we'll have players from all over Africa coming to play in Kenya.
Well, by the way, because you've mentioned that,
yes,
the African Continental Tour,
yes,
a professional that's in right now, looking at the countries that are there, you've got Nigeria,
Namibia, Botswana, we have South Africa, and we have Kenya. In 2024, we might have Uganda or maybe some other African countries, because ADG is working to bring all African players under one roof.
Actually, it would be very good to have Uganda. I love the rivalry between Kenya and Uganda at all times.
Yes.
Now, let's take moving on to this. You've said the marathon, which is training. So 3 darts landing there. Mm-hmm. The next thing is, when somebody is able to develop that, mm-hmm, then how do you get to have efficiency such that your average scores are ranging? Because I can see you're talking about over 70 at the moment for the pro elite.
As we say, Daria, that this is a game of practice. And as an Englishman said, that practice makes perfect. After you perfect yourself in marathon, then there's a game that we set when you are training. You are given only one option. You hit house number 20, which has the highest scores. Hit house number 20 only with 30 darts. That is 3 times. Okay? And you're given a minimum marks that you have to hit the minimum marks of. That is 60 times 10. That is 600. So you should not go below 600. So with that, you get used to targeting house number 20. In the mind, you are targeting triple 20, which has the highest scores. And as Mr. Jeff said, you talked about the muscle memory. So with time, once you get used, you can even close your eyes. The muscle is used. It has memory. It has a memory. You know, when you're talking of the muscle memory, even if you stand at whichever position and you are used, you've done practice, you just throw your dart straight. The muscle has the memory that it's remembering. And that's why we are having several people having problems that when you want to hit the lower marks, you find yourself you can't get one because the muscle is used to house 20. So the game was.
Wow. Jeff, you want to weigh in on something?
Yes, I wanted to talk about how I started, because for me, maybe I've been playing competitive darts maybe for 3 years now. I started with an average of around the 40s. Then I went to the 50s, 60s. Now I'm approaching 70s. And actually, maybe in 3 games, probably I will average 5 games. I would average between 65 and 75. So meaning my average is around 70. So it is something that you have to keep on practicing, and you have to love the game. It has to be within you for you to be able to actually improve. And again, the good thing about the game of darts, like the game you are showing, Simon Adams has played this game for over 30 years. He has never qualified for the PDC World Championship. Now he qualified last year. He has that patience, and he's a player who is 54 years, and he's going to play at 54 at the PDC World Championship. So again, you have to have that passion, you have to have the patience, because this game, you don't improve overnight. You have to have that patience to be able to improve your game. There are people who improve very fast, and of course there are people who take time, but again, at the end of the day, practice will not cheat you. So you'll be able to, yeah.
Now, looking at, let me just talk about the performance of Team Kenya, and this is, let me start with the Africa Continental Tour.
Yes.
And so the team that went there is Benson Gare, Evans Jogona, John Munyui.
Yes.
For the older generation, they would know him.
Yeah. Actually, we had 7 players. The 7 were Nathan Jero,
Kalsi,
Manpreet,
Karori, and you.
Yes, myself. So the first day was the African Continental Tour. We had 7 players. Unfortunately, we had 2 players being knocked out in the round robin. And for the knockout, we had 5 of our players that qualified, including Jero here. I didn't make it in the first day to qualify. I was one of the victims. But I lost very narrowly. But again, as we are saying,
a Kenyan. So you will lose.
Yeah.
What? Okay, narrowly. What was?
Actually, I lost.
What was it?
No, actually, I lost.
It was what?
It was top 4 that were qualifying. Mm-hmm. I finished number 4, but unfortunately, we had a bye. A bye is somebody who didn't play, but the marks were awarded to the opponent. So meaning he was awarded the points, and since I had finished number 4 and he was number 5, because of that award of points, the free points, he was able to. But again, that was not the focus. The focus is how we performed. 5 of our players going to the last 32 players, last 32 in Africa, and we had also 3 players going to the last 16. And we had Evans Juguna going to the quarterfinal. And he lost 6-5, meaning it was just a matter of maybe 2 or 3 darts. So we could even have our player finishing maybe in the top. And actually the prize for the ACT, the Africa Continental Tour, was 12,000 rands. That's close to 100,000 shillings. So it was a good performance since it was our first time.
Now, let me mention this because you've mentioned it. Yes. 6-5.
Yes.
Just tell us how this scoring is done.
Actually, we had, for 6-5, this is best of 11 legs. So one game of 5-1 is 1 leg. So we had 11 legs. So meaning this is an odd number. So the person who reaches...
have to be odd.
Yeah. So the person who reaches...
That's a knockout phase.
Yes, the knockout phase.
The round robin?
The round robin was best of 5. So you play against... We had 8 players in a group. So the same way you play group games, you play all the opponents, and based on the points that you accumulate, you either finish number 1 up to number 8. Only the top 4 are qualifying. So for the 6-5 that you're talking about, is the player who reaches 6 ahead of the other person wins the game. So it is just knockout. So once you're knocked out, then you go out.
And Jero, let me pick this concept because I want to use the concept of the legs, and I want to use a sport that has got a similar format, volleyball, which is easier for most people.
Yes.
So in a best of 5, you win 3-0, it is done.
Sure.
3-1, they will look at, you will be ranked lower than someone who won 3-0. If it's 3-2, you go down the ranking. So how do you how do they assign the points based on how the legs are, a player wins these legs? 3-0, 3-1, or 3-2 at the round robin phase?
At the round robin phase, you look at who won most games. That's in the round robin field. When in the game of round robin, this is whereby you play with every player of your group. So the more you play many people and you win, those are the higher the chances you have to qualify to be the first position. Then who also followed with the highest marks, the highest points. So when you for example, if you hit, if you are 8 and you knock everybody, so that you have to play seven players. You have to play 7 players. So the 7 players, if you win all of them, that was 21 points. Sure, that is a best of 5. Those are 21 points. So you may have lost that. I won 3. Then the opponent won 2. So I am higher than him by 1 point. So when we come now to the merit,
I've mentioned a bit that we've slowed down the depreciation.
It's us to see who has the most points.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be coming to you and you'll tell us, how this point system works. Yeah. A conversation about that. It's a game that, the Buffaloes are trying to give a good reputation and turning out to be a pro sport. And Nathan here mentioned about no alcohol and no chewing gum allowed. Now, we'll be coming back to that conversation, especially about chewing gum, because it's something that very many people may not understand. But before we do that, let's move on to the Bomas of Kenya, where the Cabinet Secretary for Energy, David Chiruchir, is appearing before the National Dialogue Committee Roundtable at the Bomas of Kenya. Let us listen in to Cabinet Secretary David Chiruchir, who was also flanked by the Cabinet Secretary to the Treasury, Professor Juguna Ndongo.
Just like Ethiopia, it becomes a disincentive for investors. So really, in terms of availability, in spite of the fact that it is still tight, if we did not do the G2G, the situation would have been really dire today. I don't know whether we could possibly be at 200 plus today. But the fact that we've been able to slow down sucking or exiting of $500 million every month from petroleum is a real big gain. What we're also able to do, honorable members, on petroleum is to basically say, over this period, why don't we then offtake the product as they land in Mombasa on Kenya shillings? Kenya shilling, which then sits in escrow account, earning on T-bill rate, and the T-bill rate will go to the pump over that period before we pay the international market. So the interest that is earned in the agreement that have been done, the commercial agreement that supports this transaction, is taken to the pump to support the depreciation. So the yield, actually T minus 2 goes to the pump, the minus 2 goes to the banks. We also, similarly for dollars, which we are holding, because under this framework, the dual-purpose kerosene, which is really the aviation fuel, is taken on the dollar by the flight industry, and the product that goes to our neighboring countries is taken on the dollar. So we do get 40% product being paid on dollar, while the Kenya product is paid on the shilling. The dollar is also invested. I think we are sitting on some $1.2 billion today. We've already serviced some 10 cargos. And the dollar, like I said, is also invested on SOFR minus 2. The yield also goes to the pump to support the industry in terms of the depreciation. So even as we sit today, except that we are unwinding the dollars, or rather removing the dollars as they mature, we are sitting on some $1.2 billion to support the repayments of the product as they mature, as the LC mature after 6 months, on the age of 6 months for that matter. So that's what we've done on petroleum. Honorable members, chairs, we are very conscious. We are working on it every day. We're looking at the region, like I said. If the freight and premium comes down, we open the contract with the 3 governments, Saudi, ADNOC, Abu Dhabi, and Emirates, to say, look, since you have this contract for 6 months, we shouldn't be paying higher premiums than what is obtaining in the region. When we look at the comparatives in terms of pricing in Tanzania today, in South Africa, go to UK, go to US, you'll possibly, I don't know whether we gave the figures there, but in some jurisdictions they are paying as much as 300 shillings per litre, where we are paying 200. So it's a global challenge. We are managing, honorable members, on a day-to-day, like I said, and we are looking for innovative solutions. What we've done lately is to renegotiate the freight and premium. Like I said, it's an open, it's not locked under the framework agreement, to bring it down. What we are doing after the proof of the system working, we've asked those countries to remove what we call confirmation. KCB alone has opened, I think, LC's worth about 800 billion. They are supported by Stanbic, supported by a number of banks, Mauritius Bank. And what has happened is, because of the risk and exposure of a bank not being able to pay, or the risk for that matter, there is need for confirmation, not reconfirmation. And because the system is working well, we are now talking to those governments to say, do we really need to confirm these LCs, which were priced at 0.7% of the cost of the, and we have negotiated to basically pledge the cash in the account today because the system is working, and therefore confirmation is removed. So we get another benefit of 0.7%, which would otherwise go to confirmation for the investment grade banks or the AAA banks who confirm and take the risk out of KCB in case of a liquidity challenge, or KCB is not able to pay for those or the risk taker for the LC issuing banks. So we are in the process of removing the confirmation, and we will subsequently see slight reduction on the cost of the financing facilities for this product. So that's what we are doing with petroleum. Unfortunately, there's nothing much we can do on the Platts pricing because they are set by OPEC. But on freight and premium.
That is Cabinet Secretary for Energy, Davis Chirchir, who's speaking at the National Dialogue Committee Roundtable, and he was addressing, and the focus of this conversation has to do with the cost of living. And in Kenya, the cost of living is heavily affected by the cost of fuel. So he is explaining to the committee about the government-to-government deal, about how the money that is put in an escrow account for the procurement of fuel, petroleum products, which are basically diesel, super petrol, and also kerosene, which is used for two purposes, aviation and domestic use, how they are all sourced into the country and how they're priced and how that works. And he's presenting that to the National Dialogue Committee Roundtable. And also you could see to his right, there was the Cabinet Secretary to the Treasury, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u. So when the Cabinet Secretaries are speaking, we shall be coming through to you. And also to inform you that we've got the flag off of mobile clinics happening at State House, Nairobi. Mashujaa is our reporter there. His Excellency, the President, is going to be flagging off those mobile clinics. And once they're here, we shall be getting over to you. So time for us now to continue with our conversation. It's about professional darts in Kenya. And, you know, darts is a game that has got its own reputation. It has, for a long time, it's been associated as a pub sport. But when you look at it from the professional level, they've got strict regulations. And we're talking about scoring. And the concept you are using is, for example, at the recently closed Africa Continental Tour, the round-robin phase, you play a best of 5. Think of volleyball. It's a 5-set game. You win 3-0, you're better placed. 3-1, looks good. 3-2, things get tricky. So, and we are with Nathan Njero, who is a player with the ADS Buffaloes, and the chair of the ADS Buffaloes, Jeff Murady. They were in South Africa for the Africa Continental Tour and also for the Professional Darts Championship, World Championship qualifiers. So Nathan, you are explaining that, and just put it into context. So you're looking for 4 players to go through to the round of 32, and you have got a tie, like the case of Jeff. Actually, Jeff, you're best placed to speak about this, about that tiebreaker.
Yes.
So you've got somebody who's got probably a 3-1, 3-2. How then do you allocate, the point, this? For example, going by the league table, going by the the number of legs that you've won or lost.
So actually now, like in the Africa Continental Tour and the league that we play in the ADS, we use the Dart Connect to scores, to keep the scores. So these are computer software that is able to pick everything about every statistics about the game. So for you mentioned about a tie. You can be tied in terms of wins.
Yes.
So the first thing they look at is the wins. How many wins do you have? So in case the number 4 and 5 are tied on wins, they look at legs. So meaning, did you win 3-0 or were you winning 3-2? You have the same number of wins, but different legs. So now, number of legs won. The number of legs won, you can win a game 3-2 and you can win a game 3-0. So the person who wins the game 3-0 will be ahead of you because you have lost. It's like goal difference.
Actually, yes, that's what I wanted
it's
to
like
bring
a
up.
goal difference. So it's a leg difference. It's called a leg difference in darts. And then again, if you are tied on the legs, the leg difference, they look at the 3 darts average. So you cannot be tied on the wins, you cannot be tied on the legs, and then be tied on the average. The average now would be the last option they will use to determine who goes through.
Now, and by the way, on the board at the moment, you can see our Buffaloes who are playing.
That is Nathan Jero.
That is Nathan Jero. He's here.
Yeah, he's
Unajiona
playing.
kwa TV sasa.
He's playing against Los Pasinia. He's also an old man who has been playing this game for a very long time in South Africa.
Well, and we can just see that. Now, let me talk about this, taking this game pro and, playing such that you can go for the money. How has that setup come in? Because I think for most people, I think for the older generation,
yes,
we have seen people play at the Festival of Darts way back, 30 years plus.
Actually, during the Festival of Darts, there was a lot of sponsorship that was being done by the East Africa Breweries, then KBL. Right now, we don't have a lot of sponsors in this game, but again, look at what we did in South Africa. SportPesa came through for us. So ideally, the corporates now are starting to realize this is a serious game and it needs sponsorship, corporate sponsorship. And again, we are looking at that. And then again, if you look at the ADS, the Africa Darts Series, at the end of every league, there is some prize money to be won. Look at the Africa Continental Tour. There is a guaranteed prize money of 40,000 rands. Then actually on the 18th and 19th, we have the grand final of the Africa Continental Tour. There were four competitions, and the grand final will be on the 18th and 19th of November in Cape Town. If we are able to take players, we can do that. And actually, the guaranteed prize money for that tournament is 60,000 rands. And being the first year, it can only get better with time because this prize money has been increasing every other time. So probably in next year we have more prize money. So as I said, the winner of the ACT took home 100,000, which is a good amount of money considering the first tournament. And again, we are working to bring the ACT in Kenya in 2024, and we are hoping that maybe we can get coverage from KBC on that event because it's a big event. Yes. And it's an event that we will host other African countries here. So we would like maybe a partnership with KBC to air this.
Okay, that's a very strong pitch that you have made, but we will look into it. Now, Nathan, let me just, I'd like to come to you, and you mentioned earlier, one of your mentors is John Munyui. He's a legend in the sport. Given that, actually, he was one of the young talents, Darts talent, if we were to go back in the days of the Festival of Darts. What are the things that you have learned from him? Because this is a sport where until maybe you can no longer move your arms or your vision is failing you, you can play all the time.
One thing about Munyui is determination. And what Munyui taught me and told me, no matter how risky it may be, doing the games at night, having challenges of finances, if you love the game, still stick to the game and you shall see some light. And for sure, Munyui had even stopped playing for about 12 years. So he came back when we started the ADS, which is funded by the ADG. And the moment Munyui came, that's the time that we got Allah. So we can move to places. For the first time, we just went to South Africa together with Munyui. Somebody who gives you a morale and tells you, next time you will do it. Don't worry, you will be beaten. Tomorrow you will. Tomorrow, encouraging you and saying, whenever you go, come and do practice with us. We rectify each other. So this is where you messed. This is what you should have done. So he always sits down with you just to advise you. This is how it should be done. This is where you messed.
Now, that's, by the way, for him, he's an outlier. Mm-hmm. What was his form like when he came back after, 12 years?
Actually, because I saw him when he came back. Actually, he was very interested when we started the professional game, because I think he had stopped because the game had really gone down in terms of organization here in Kenya. But when he saw that we are bringing back darts and we are organized in a professional way, in terms of we want it to be a professional game here in Kenya, he was very interested, and he decided to come back. And when he came back, of course, his form was very bad, because, of course, he had not played for a long time. But again, experience. This is a person who had played for so many years before. So his form came really fast.
What is it called? Riding a bicycle.
Yes.
Suddenly.
So he cannot forget. So with a few days of practice, his game now improved, and he's actually almost at the same level now when he was there. But again, I also wanted to mention about experience. This game is about mental strength. So if you're not able to withstand, because you can be beaten in a best of 11, you can be beaten 5-0 and come and win this game 6-5 because of the mental state. So you have to be, you can be a very good player, but when you come to competitive games or matches, your mind is not there. But you have to focus, and these are the things that experienced players like Munyui keep on telling younger players like us and maybe other upcoming players. Your mental state has to be right.
Now let me come to you. Getting young people to play this sport, and let's talk about, because you mentioned as a coach, let's talk about what you need ideally is a board and somewhere where it's going to be placed, and the darts. So that is the cost of entry. And then a tape measure.
You can borrow that. Because you use it once.
Yes.
You just use it once.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just actually need a tape measure for that.
Yes.
How do you then engage the youth? Because looking at from what you're saying and from what I've watched, at times I watch pro darts players, especially in Europe. It's huge in the UK, Australia, and the Netherlands.
Yes.
No, to respond to that, this is something, and my chairman can bear me witness here. This is something that you got a challenge when you get to South Africa, whereby in South Africa they've really invented, and they've really invested in the sport, in this game, whereby they have the academies. Okay, it's just you have the school for the darts, whereby they collect people of different categories, with different ages. You are taken to the academy. You are trained how to start, how to do it at the middle, how to release your darts, the regulations, what you are supposed to do, how to cope with the challenges. So and they have their curriculum. It's just like it's done in our school, the CBC. There's a program for today. So it's something that really challenged us, because as in Kenya, going with your small boy to the pub where the game is,
But to the rules.
yes. The more to the rules. So, but when we have an academy, at least we are able to get, this is a school for the darts game. So I can be able to bring my son, I take your son, these young boys who have a vision. Like, no, I really felt ashamed, sorry to say, when I played Stefan. Stefan is a young boy, if I may call him, 17 years of age. And he really beat me in the group stage, 3-0. I try to imagine.
So you Kenyans are too honest. Am I speaking with Kenyans?
Yes. Yes.
We had 15
Kenyans are not honest. They say tulionewa.
No.
This was clean.
Stefan went to the final. He was playing the final.
In fact, he went up to the final. So in the group stage,
and that's a 17-year-old.
Yeah,
Yes.
a 17-year-old.
Even 15-year-olds were playing. That was the age limit. It was 15 and above. So we had 15 and 16-year-old, even girls. I played Cassidy Hamsey, who is 16 years. But I was not beaten. But again, I had to play a very good game for me to win.
So
we are working to bring this kind of thing, because like now in South Africa we have the youth championships, and they take players to the World Youth Championships because they have that academies, they have that setup. So we want also to create that setup here in Kenya, so that where we have young guys who can be able to play. Now I have 2 sons that I'm training them at home because I have a board at home, and I know these guys by the time they are reaching 15 years old, they will be very good darts players because I'm doing it myself. So again, if Nathan has young boys that he can also train, and then we bring them to under ADG where we have a controlled environment, no alcohol and such things, then we can take this game level by level. And we also have planned to take this game to the universities, so that now we have guys who can play professional in the university, high schools, and in primary schools that South Africa is doing, because South Africa is starting from the primary school.
Well, Kenya Primary School Sport Association, here is a sport for you, and I'm sure the teachers will also love it. Now, one thing, Nathan, chewing, we would know about alcohol and why it is not allowed. It doesn't improve your accuracy at all. It messes it up. But chewing gum, why is it prohibited in that?
I think I also ask myself such questions, because when we got to the darts, we found the rule there: no chewing. And I've ever witnessed people being disqualified because of chewing. Intentionally, I think they were trying to avoid the issue of chewing miraa into the venue. Once you start chewing, you find people
bring other substances.
Bring other substances.
Going to that, maybe if I can add, we have like 2 bodies in the world that regulates darts. As for us, we follow the DRA, the Darts Regulation Authority, that regulates PDC games. We also have WDF, World Dart Federation, that probably games played by KDA, Kenya Darts Association. They follow the WDF rules. We follow the DRA rules. So there are several rules, but again, the do's and don'ts that are common in all you have to wear dark trouser, no jeans. You have to have dark shoes, no sports shoes, no trainers.
No trainers.
No trainers. There are specific shoes that you play darts with. But again, dark shoes. You also have to have a collared shirt like this. You cannot have a t-shirt without a collar. You cannot play with a long sleeve. So those are the regulations that...
Belt?
Of course, you can play with a belt because you don't have to touch it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but again, every game has its own attire, because you can't play the same attire that you use for volleyball to play football. So again, that is the attire for darts.
Yeah. All right. Finally, as we're closing, where do people find you if they want to get to play pro darts in Kenya?
Actually, we play at Sufra Gardens. We also on social media. If you want to contact us, we are on Facebook and Instagram under Buffaloes franchise. And again, we also had an open tournament just last weekend, and we are organizing one in November and December. So we are calling guys to follow us, and maybe their contacts on the Instagram and Facebook. So we are trying to recruit more players so that we can have this sport grow in Kenya. So you can follow us and see all the updates. Every time we have a tournament, we have open tournaments that we invite people who are not even in Buffaloes to come and play.
Thank you very much. And this is Jeff Mureithi. He's the chairman of the ADS. ADS meaning the Africa Dart Series Buffaloes. They're a Kenyan franchise that plays pro dart, and they were in South Africa for 2 championships, the Africa Continental Tour, and also qualifiers for the PDC World Championships. And Nathan Jeru, who's a player, he plays the sport and he's also a coach. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much
for being with us. Let's have fun. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we shall be continuing with our program and keeping you informed on what's happening all around the country as we speak more sport, this time with a representative national team.
Uncle, she...
What?
I didn't know this until Jingjing was already gone. But she was really depressed.
What? The people will laugh and think you're crazy.
That's because they didn't lose their child in their 50s. Because their child is alive.
It's okay, please calm down. Just sing.
Oya, 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 oya.
Auntie akona ka forehead. Akona the mark of quality.
Nataka kumaliza mambo hiyo wedding.
Kwanza kiongea kitu kiambia diriki sana. Rosi pole.
Umenimaliza kama chai kwa kikombe.
September, October.
Ni kama tu nikuje nikwambie uko na kichwa kubwa. Sasa makosa
Au sio? Ndio manake. Okay.
Every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
These are the moments we live for every Friday as we catch up with the world of football.
Manchester City go in front.
With your favorite stars in rivalries like no other that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Learn a few tricks that keep you ahead of the game and spice it all with unforgettable moments on Dunda Dunda. On Saturday, you're in for another treat as we rock your weekend with all sporting disciplines, bringing you insights on what's happening behind the scenes as we share players and athlete stories, preparations, and celebrate their achievements.
charging to the line. Is it going to be a world record? Yes, it is. She smashed it.
Whatever angle you look at, we've got you covered. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
What?
And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 6th day of November 2023. It is a day when on News Cycle, we've got parliamentary committee meetings happening at the Parliament buildings. We also have got the 8th African Public Sector Human Resource Managers Network Annual Capacity Building Conference that is happening at the Kenya School of Government. We've got the official launch of the Mama Lucy Kibaki Eye Hospital and flagging off of mobile clinics. We'll be getting to that soon. And also the International Association of Peacekeeping Training Centers Conference happening in Westlands. But now, let's move over to the Bomas of Kenya, where we've got the National Dialogue Committee Roundtable. And speaking right now is the Principal Secretary for Housing and Urban Development, Principal Secretary Charles Hinga, who's addressing that committee. Let us listen to him. And to his right, we've got the Director General of the EPRA,
where Azimio had proposed, which was 1.5%. So I would like to believe that if we are all genuine and we put away our political caps, we can be able to look at this matter of housing, soberly, and we can be able to agree. We may disagree, we may not agree on everything, but we agree we have a challenge. So, Chair, I'm going to go very quickly to the economics of housing, because I think that is very, very, very important if I was to avoid dealing with the real merits of the levy itself. So I have a presentation, Chair, which is has 4 headings, which is a quick introduction, the economic context, the economic recovery, and then I'll go a little bit into the housing fund and offerings. Chair, the Kenya Kwanza government has a plan, and our plan is to have 1 million Kenyans owning their homes in this first dispensation. Now, Chair, the reason that number is not a thumbsuck, it is because in Kenya, we have a housing demand of 250 homes a year. The market is only able to produce 50,000. And of the 50,000, only 1,000 is affordable housing. So we have got 49,000 for the high end, that is a 3%. And then 97% of Kenyans are left with the 1,000 that is being produced by the market today. So our plan is ambitious and bold because we believe that we have a systemic failure in housing in Kenya. And for us to be able to understand how this systemic failure happened, Chair, you need to take a step back into history and realize that at the turn of independence, when we came up with the housing policy, we were, as a government, building homes through National Housing Corporation, site and service, and that happened until the late 80s, when the infamous, when we got into trouble with the IMFs and the World Bank at the time, and we got into structural adjustments. And at that time, one of the things that we were told to exit from was housing. And from that point to date, the likes of National Housing Corporation has never received any funding from government. Most of you perhaps have lived in estates that were funded through National Housing Corporation or the old municipal councils. So, Chair, let me go quickly to the economics of housing, which I think is very important to understand. One, Chair, is that we know right now we are in a bit of an economic meltdown of some sort. And this did not just start now. It has been there from COVID. We never recovered from COVID. We are in Russia. We never recovered. And we are having challenges because the economies are contracting. And when economies are contracting, Chair, the objective, the primary target is to make sure that you do not get into a recession. Getting into a recession, Chair, to get out of a recession is more expensive than preventing yourself getting into a recession. Now, Chair, as I said, the do nothing is not an option. And this is a case where you get presented with bad options. When you're going through an economic meltdown, when you look at the options that you have, very few of them are good options. Then when you take the context that our economies lack resilience, we don't have enough social safety nets so that when you have an economic meltdown, you can be able to send checks to the poor people and even to the working class who sometimes get laid off. Chair, we have a situation of dilapidated supply chains. So I don't know whether I'm going backwards or forward. Okay. Then, Chair, I read something yesterday in the Nation newspaper, and I was a bit surprised by what I read there, because I guess trying to paint that this government has borrowed so much money, they failed to understand that part of the reason why our debt has increased, even without borrowing, is that because some of our borrowing is in hard currency, and our shilling has depreciated. Even without borrowing, the debt has gone up. So our currency is devaluing, we have high inflation, we have rising interest rates, we have uncertainty that is there in the market. Chair, we have seen in our own context here, we have got a huge unemployment issue. We have a huge youth bulge. We have our economy is around contracting, manufacturing. We have had prolonged drought. We have had serious impact from COVID. And I've said, even other places like in the US, where they are increasing interest rates to manage their own inflation, it is actually causing capital flight. If you look today at the stock exchange, the shares are misbehaving, and some of those companies have very good fundamentals, but they are depreciating. So therefore, Chair, I really want to make this point very clear that, sometimes to the public, it looks like the policymakers, maybe we just sit down and we don't really apply our minds on some of these things. It is, I sat there when COVID came knocking on our doors. And when you looked at the options that we had, there was an inverse relationship between trying to contain the disease and the economy. And Chair, there were many examples. For example, South Africa went on to what is called hard shutdown. The effect of hard shutdown, you saw, was something which was called an insurrection. People got tired of being kept at home, and they went and broke into supermarkets and took all the booze. In Brazil, on the other hand, they assumed that this is like flu. Okay, so what did they do? They were relaxed, go to the beach, enjoy yourself, in Homa, tumeishi na Homa all this time. What happened? There were caskets that were being deposited at their state house because people died. So you're faced with very challenging and balancing situation. So, Chair, during that time, you are either going to go to austerity or you have got to increase government expenditure. Now, when you look at the Great Recession, which was in 2008, if you look at what the US and Europe did, they did the opposite of each other. The US went on a major capital investment in infrastructure. Europe, on the other hand, went on a serious austerity measure. What happened is that the US got out of the recession much faster. Europe, you saw the likes of Greece and all those other places they went, they had a lot of challenges. Another example, Chair, is in the 1930s when we had the Great Depression. And when FDR, then the president of the US, the strategies that he put, one of them was what is called the extended public works, which gave birth to something which is called the American Dream.
That is the Principal Secretary in the State Department for Housing and Urban Development, Charles Hinga, who's speaking to the National Dialogue Committee Roundtable at the Bomas of Kenya, and they're presenting things. And this has got to do mainly with the housing levy as he tries to explain the economics and the thinking behind it. Now, let's move on to another event, and this is where we're having the flagging of mobile clinics, which have been donated to Kenya, and this is happening at State House, Nairobi, where Aga Khan University Hospital, in partnership with KFW Development Bank, have donated mobile clinics. And let us move on to State House, Nairobi, where this function is happening.
First Lady, I'm shocked to see First Lady here. And I hope when I go back home, Your Excellency, I will not be locked out of my house, Your Excellency, for this mishap. Your Excellency, I want to sincerely thank you on behalf of Isiolo County and the great people of Kenya for what you are doing and your organization of Mama doing good. Thank you, Your Excellency. And I hope the other First Ladies will talk to Mama so that she will not lock me out. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Governor Guyo, for Isiolo. We will endure kutetea wewe so that you're not locked out of the house. And actually, I'll start today. With your digest, Her Excellency of the Republic of Kenya, First Lady, now that Samburu was not represented by the governor, I would kindly ask you to allow me to breach protocol and allow the First Lady of Samburu County, for the fact that the governor is not here, and also because he happens to be my friend, that I allow her to make a remark on behalf of the county of Samburu, and also by the fact that she is also a neighbor to Isiolo County. She'll do the needful for Governor Guyo. Be very Lelit. Tumpigie makofi.
Our First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Mama Rachel Ruto, Minister of Health, Nakumisa, all the governors present, and all the leaders present, and everyone from the different counties, 7 counties. My name is Beverly Lelit, First Lady Samburu County, and I'm so happy to be here today. I want to tell our First Lady, Governor from Samburu County told me to say hi. He could not make to be here today because he had a different task. He went to Amboseli National Park, where our president sent him to represent the 3 counties, Kajiado, Narok, and Samburu. Mine is just to say thank you so much. From us, the first lady from Samburu County, we know we have so many problems in Samburu County, especially our mothers. We travel so many long distances to get to the health facilities. And I'm so proud, and thank you so much for the facility, for the equipment you gave us. We say thank you. Nimeshukuru sana kama first lady wa Samburu.
A better round of applause for her. She did better than the governors. Excellency, from the Council of Governors, I was also accompanied by Katra Ali. She can stand and wave, who is supporting us from the Secretariat. I am very sure that different counties here have been accompanied by county staff. They can also stand up. We recognize them if they're there. If you come from good counties, they're there. Let's clap for them. So counties are full house, and they're really looking forward to receiving the gifts. Before I read the speech, which is very brief, I'll shorten it for the Chair of the Council of Governors. Excellency, allow me to recognize the fact that the first donation that you're making to the counties today are well-thought decision, because the Geneva Convention puts the distance for our facilities, the ideal, as 5 kilometers. But if you look at the counties that have been represented here today, the counties of Marsabit, Mandera, the county of Isiolo, Baringo, and even Samburu, it will be practically almost impossible to have a facility in every 5 kilometers in those counties. Yet our population, our people live there. And therefore the mobile clinics will play a very big role to take the clinics and the service to the people. And I have looked at that clinic today, and I would not want to preempt your speech, but I would say it is a well-thought idea because it has almost everything that it takes to be able to deliver the services to the people in those far-flung counties. Allow us for me to say, but we have had these clinics before, Your Excellency, but they were totally differently structured. They are now over 7 years, and as all of you know that the lifespan of vehicles, especially diesels, cannot go beyond maybe 5 to 10 years, and that's the way we normally replace them. I am briefed that the equipment on the trucks are more expensive than the trucks. And therefore, out there in the counties, we have the equipments, they are in the trucks. We are not sure whether we will replace the truck or the equipment, but just to tell you and the supporters or the donors who have this very noble task to support the First Lady, that after this, Your Excellency, there will be other 42 counties who will be salivating and waiting for that good deed. It's a message I would give you today because definitely it is a fact. Having said that, now I want to read the speech for my chair, who is also my boss. It is a great pleasure and gratitude that I speak to you all this morning. The gesture by the Aga Khan University is very timely, coming at a time when we are working together as a whole government. The effort to scale up universal health coverage is supported by this initiative. This is therefore galvanizing the ongoing efforts by both the levels of government to ensure that all citizens have access to highest quality of health services where they need them, and at a cost they can afford. As such, on behalf of the Council of Governors, let me take this early opportunity to express my gratitude to the Aga Khan University Hospital and the Office of the First Lady for this timely support. Your Excellency, over the past 10 years of devolution, county governments have achieved significant improvement in health equipment and structure. We have built and operationalized hundreds of health facilities across Kenya, enabling most Kenyans to live within 5 kilometers range of health services as recommended by the World Health Organization. In addition to this, county governments have worked with the national governments to scale up investment in medical equipment through various initiatives, including MES program. As you know, medical equipment play a critical role in diagnosis and structure and treatment of diseases, as well as rehabilitation following disease or injury. As a result of sustained investment here, equipment such as digital X-rays, CT scan, MRI dialysis machines, and many other equipments are more available at the local level today, significantly expanding the scope of services available to our citizens. The expanding services also reduces referral cost and time for both the patients and the caregivers, and it saves lives in Kenya. Your Excellency, it is key to note that in addition to medical equipment, county governments continue to invest in other critical blocks such as health service delivery, health infrastructure, health products and technologies, health information systems, human resource for health, and sustainable healthcare financing. These continued investments have resulted in significant improvement in key health outcomes indicators, as recently evidenced by the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey. For example, with 89% of mothers currently delivering under skilled care as compared to 66% before devolution. Therefore, there has been a rapid decline in maternal and child mortality rates. Kenya's under 5 mortality rate has also reduced from 52 deaths per 1,000 to 41 deaths per 1,000. And the infant mortality rate from 39 to 32 deaths per 1,000 during this era. The proportion of children with stunted growth reduced by 8%. We are truly and sustainably moving towards the aspiration of our constitutional provision of health, that every Kenyan citizen shall have access to the highest attainable standards of health services. Your Excellency, despite this notable milestone, there are issues that persistently stifle the progress counties make in health services delivery. On one hand, there are global issues like climate change, changing disease patterns, the global economic downtimes. But on the other hand, they are in what we call in-country issues like inadequate funding and continuous clawback on devolution by a few actors. As we move forward, we look at your support and partnership to address these challenges and allow Kenyans to move forward. Finally, Your Excellency, the Council of Governors remains fully committed to working closely with the national government and fostering partnership with the private sector in order to achieve universal health coverage. And thank you, and may God bless you. Anne Waiguru, Chair of Council of Governors. With those few remarks, now it's my pleasure to invite our Cabinet Secretary for Health in the Republic of Kenya, Madam Nakumincha, to come and address the gathering. Tumpigie makofi.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Mama Rachel Ruto, Excellency Governors present, led by our Chair of the Health Committee, the Governor of Tharaka Nithi County, His Excellency Muthomi Njuki, representative from GIZ, KFW, Mr. Oscar, CEO of Aga Khan, and everyone present. Good morning. Good morning. We were told that it's a bright day, so we ought to look like it's indeed a bright day and respond like it is a bright day, isn't it? Good morning. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, I'm very happy to be here this morning, to be with you in this function as we receive the donation that has been given to us. Your Excellency, as a ministry, we have made progress and you are in line to ensure that we deliver universal health coverage to Kenyans. We have actually now moved away from focusing on curative services, and we have gone back to the basics of ensuring that we promote health care, that we prevent diseases, and we rehabilitate those amongst us who may have health issues. Those are the basics, and we know that that is going to be the game changer on matters healthcare of this country. Your Excellency, in the past few months, the ministry has been moving quite fast, and we have managed, together with His Excellency the President, he has presided over 100,000 community health promoters who are adequately kitted and equally trained to ensure that they provide the services at the community level in the household. And from where I sit, Your Excellency, I've always said that women are inherently born to be health officers. That besides the 100,000 community health promoters that we have champions of health in the households, and those are the women in those households. And today, we are celebrating a testament that indeed, you as the head of the household called Kenya, you are the champion of healthcare. Your Excellency, as we move towards ensuring that we prevent diseases and promote wellness, one of the main things that we must ensure as a country is that all our children must get their childhood immunization. Therefore, the donation today goes a long way in ensuring that we build capacity in the rural areas to ensure that all children get their childhood immunization at 100%. I have been to counties, and in some of them, what lies between an immunization and the death of a child is this refrigerator that we are seeing here. In August, I was in West Pokot County at Murkijit Health Center, and what they were lacking is a freezer for vaccines. So Christmas has come early for West Pokot as they receive their vaccine at their fridge today. So I want to thank you and thank the donors who have given us this support and commit that we shall work together. Your Excellency, equally in the month of September, as a ministry, we launched a health of service assessment program where we send and we work together with the counties to check the gaps that do exist in healthcare. And there were 3 main gaps that were discovered. 1 is the infrastructure, 2 is the equipment, and 3 is the human resource for health. So today, as we receive this donation, then we are filling one of the gaps. And I really want to thank the Aga Khan University Hospital, the GIZ, for this support, and to say that as a ministry, we are committed to working together with partners, like-minded partners, to ensure that we improve the health services of Kenyans. And our commitment has gone to the extent that now we have legislation that will force all of us to work together. In the primary health care bill, we have what we call a primary care network. In a primary care network, it does not matter whether you are a private hospital, a faith-based hospital, or a public health hospital. We are putting you in a situation where you must work together in that primary care network to provide services for Kenyans. So we are ready and open. Our doors are open. We need to talk to each other and ensure that we provide services to the many Kenyans who need our services. With those very few remarks, or many remarks, let us all be upstanding. And maybe a round of applause as we invite Her Excellency, the First Lady, to come and address us. Keep clapping until she gets here. Clap harder. Keep clapping. Keep clapping. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you, CS. Thank you, Madam CS. We can be seated. Susan Nakumicha, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Health, Honorable Mudhomi Njuki, Governor Tharaka Nithi County, representing the Chairperson of Council of Governors, governors from Baringo, Isiolo, Mandera, Marsabit counties, county first ladies present and representatives from Samburu, Turkana, and West Pokot counties, Oscar von Malzahn, County Director, KFW Development Bank, Rashid Halani, Chief Executive Officer, Aga Khan University Hospital, seen my friend and my classmate, Rita Kavashe, CEO Isuzu, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Habari zenu. I'm honored to stand before you today for the official handover of medical equipment that will impact lives of Kenyans. Before I proceed, allow me to bring you warm greetings from the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, who deeply values the well-being and health care of all Kenyan citizens. Today, as we gather here, we are recognizing the efforts that have been made in healthcare and coming together to play our part by handing over medical equipment that will be beneficial to those in far-flung areas of our country. We want to recognize and appreciate the Aga Khan University Hospital for their commitment to improving healthcare in Kenya. You have been instrumental in the healthcare sector and have given hope to countless individuals who rely on your services. Your generosity today is deeply appreciated. I wish to extend my gratitude to the German government and the KFW Development Bank, whose generous support will go a long way in enhancing the welfare of Kenyans who are in need of healthcare services. I also want to acknowledge the Ministry of Health in its mission to deliver universal health care to all Kenyans. Asante sana waziri. I also want to recognize the governors, first ladies of counties, and county representatives who have joined us today for this handing over ceremony. I thank you most sincerely for making time to join us today and pray that this medical equipment will make a difference in your counties. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to share a personal experience that deeply moved me and underscores the critical importance of the donations we are receiving and handing over today. On March 2nd, 2023, I had the privilege to launch a mission hospital in Segera, Laikipia County. During the event, I listened to heart-wrenching accounts of the challenges people in arid regions face when seeking healthcare services. From babies being born in the bush, to women encountering dangerous wildlife and others who fall victim of physical or sexual violence while in search of medical care. These stories touched my heart. The ceremony today represents a significant step in bringing healthcare services closer to those in the far-flung areas who normally have to travel long distances to access medical services. The medical equipment we are receiving and handing over today consists of 3 fully equipped mobile clinics, 4 fridges, and transport freezers. The mobile clinics will be handed over to Baringo, Marsabit, and Samburu counties. Turkana, West Pokot, Mandera, and Isiolo counties will each receive a fridge and a transport freezer. Given the arid and semi-arid nature of these regions, the donations will boost healthcare access in these counties by bringing services closer to the people. Today's contribution aligns with the healthcare pillar of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, otherwise known as BETTER, which focuses on strengthening primary healthcare and health systems capacity. It also supports the Ministry of Health Community Health Promoters Initiative that the President launched on September 25th, 2023. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda also recognizes that community health is the foundation of preventive health care. It is estimated that up to 70% of the cases seen in our hospitals are preventable. This medical equipment will contribute greatly to early detection and preventive health care. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the people of Baringo, Isiolo, Mandera, Marsabit, Samburu, Turkana, and West Pokot counties, I want to express our heartfelt appreciation for the donation from the German government and KfW Development Bank through the Aga Khan University Hospital, which will form part of our government's healthcare system, increasing access to medical care in the counties and, more importantly, to the beneficiaries. May this kind gesture today become a seed that will result in many similar initiatives aimed at improving access to healthcare services across the country. May we continue to work together for a healthier, more prosperous Kenya. I have received the mobile clinics, fridges, and transport freezers with deep gratitude. It is now with great pleasure that I officially hand over the medical equipment to the counties. And just before I sit down, when I came here this morning and looking at what is happening this morning and looking at the partners, I really appreciated the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think the oneness that we talk about is indeed a game changer. If partners can come together, you know, people who can contribute one thing and another thing, just come together to do these kind of things, we shall have a great world, not just a great nation, not just a great county. So from the depth of my heart, I sincerely thank you. And as the good book says, let's not be weary in doing good, because in due season we shall receive our reward. So once again, to the German KfW and to the Aga Khan University and to the counties and to our Ministry of Health and to everybody seated here today, I sincerely say thank you so much, and may the good Lord bless you. Thank you. Have a good day.
That is First Lady Mama Rachel Ruto, who was speaking at State House Nairobi, and this was at the flagging off of mobile clinics that have been donated by the Aga Khan University Hospital in partnership with KfW Development Bank. And this equipment is going to benefit the residents of Mandera, Baringo, Turkana, West Pokot, Samburu, and Isiolo counties. And the donation costs a total of 65 million shillings. Christian Amasha is going to be giving us a full report on that in our subsequent bulletins. So that is what we've got. Now, moving on, let's have a conversation on Sports Check. This is the second conversation that we're going to have, and we are with a representative team of the country, and this is the Kenya Rugby League team. Now, don't confuse a league and a normal league. It's the name that they took up 100 and something years ago when they broke up from conventional rugby union. Just a background of it. 13 players aside, no contested scrums, and you know, and anytime you've got to make about 5 plays, if you don't make that, then you've got to kick and send the ball back to your opponents. And the scoring is different. They're going to be playing 2 tests against South Africa on Wednesday and Saturday. So, and in studio with me, I have got some of the representatives of the team. And I'll go ladies first, right in the middle. The team manager, Damina Duffield.
It's good to be here.
Thank you. And to Damina's right, we've got the captain, Dennis Minya, and to her left, we've got somebody who's making his debut, Ido Kuta. And Damina, let me just start with you. And the first thing that you do is just to mention about what you have seen, you know, in rugby league in Kenya since they played against Italy. almost 10 years ago, then, no one really took it serious, but let's just focus over the last 3 or so years, because that's when you've been active.
Yeah, well, from then, what we've been able to come up with is a credible side, a side that is, well managed right from the top. We've got our directors set up, we've got our national team set up, and we've got a league running as well. Last year we played our first international test only after our first season. That's huge. I think a lot of federations or unions struggle to get to that point where you're playing an international test match or you're playing against another country, which we managed to do last year. We went from being an observer member with the International Rugby League. We're upgraded this year to being an affiliate member, and we are now looking to be a full member. So, among those requirements, we need a national men's senior side, a women's side, and an under-18 side, which is what we are working towards, and which is why we want to get all this exposure for our boys, for our women, and for our young ones. We know that it all starts from development. You can't do anything at the top if you don't have any feeder system going into things. So I think, in my opinion, there's been tremendous growth. Last year we went to the MIA Championship in Ghana. We were the least experienced side. We've got to be honest about things. We played against Ghana in our first game. In the first half, it was 6-all. So, we're like, we've got this. But then, things happen. We lost that first game, played the second game against Cameroon, ended up winning. That meant that we came out 3rd out of 4, which is a good result. I was very happy with the boys. Going into this next international season, we start our campaign against South Africa. And I think most people know, South Africans don't play with their rugby league. They're here to, they're here to play. So going into this game, we've got like 8 debutants, but we've got a strong side. Our boys now understand league a lot better. We've gone through our second season, which, from start to, honestly, that top 5 could have gone to anyone. That league could have been won by anyone. So going into this international season, I think we should expect good results from the boys. There's, in camp, the attitude is very positive, and I'm very proud of these boys.
Well, the boss has spoken now. Captain Dennis,
yes.
For you, in Kenya, if you're going to play rugby, you are brought up union. What was that transition for you from rugby union, which is the normal 15-a-side rugby that we see? Oh yeah, and by the way, they're not going to be playing against Sia Kolisi and company. That's a rugby union side, the world champions. This is a totally different outfit of South Africa. So just mention about that transition.
The good thing about league is that you have to utilize your chances well, because it doesn't give you second chances. You only have 5 takes to score. So it's much interesting in league because the intensity is a bit high. I must say it's also quite physical because it's only 5 takes, and the defending team has to make sure they keep you on your half, or rather you don't cross past the scoreline. So it's been quite a good experience. It's a new sport. Catching up quite well, and we're happy to get the prospects out of the sport. Yeah.
What was it like for you when you're told that if you have a breakdown, you've got to release the tackler, and the opposite, and then here you are, the team that is making the attack, they do that scratch where they send the ball back. What was that moment for you when you get to that gain line that you have? As compared to what we call rugby union.
To me, my trade name on the field is Warlord. So I actually enjoy the fight because you get to manipulate the time the ball carrier gets up. So it's actually interesting in league because you get the control of the ball carrier. So again, you give your defending teammates an advantage of getting to retire 10 meters as per the rules apply. So in league it's quite interesting because once you have to dictate the pace, or rather the speed of the attacking team, you're dominating on the breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ido, let me come to you. And what has been your experience? And compare union, that is what, to make it simple, 15-a-side rugby vis-a-vis 13-a-side rugby. What has been that experience for you?
Okay, for me, my experience is when I get to know the rugby league, I used to hear and to watch on YouTube. Then I got an interest to maybe come and play. Then one day my friend talked to me and I accept to go and play. In local, I'll play for Winam. So, to rugby.
By the way, Winam are based in, they say Kisumu. They are not in Kisumu, they're in Nyamasaria.
Yeah.
They're outside and they're former champions, by the way.
Yes. So, when I went there for the first time, my first game, we played against Wards. And the game was really interesting. I enjoyed playing. Then, when the time of the national team to start training came, yeah, I went and got a chance to train with them, and I'm there.
All right. Yes. Anyway, Ido, let me just mention to this. What's that feeling where you get called up to the national team? And you have to, now you can go to Nyayo House, pick the passport, and they will do in a pigwa muhuri.
Okay, it was a good feeling because I really worked hard for being there. Yeah. Yeah, I used to talk to my coach or the areas to improve, and I was happy to be selected. Yes.
All right. Yeah.
I think just to add on what you've said, and to elaborate a little bit, the difference between the two codes is rugby league is better suited for Kenyans. It is a faster game. We are quick. That's why we excel, in the shorter version of the games.
Sevens.
Yeah, yes. So what happens is, at those breakdowns that you're talking about, it's a situation where you've got to get up quick, you've got to get, your guys need to get back 10. And yeah, people are used to contesting rucks and all of that, but you don't necessarily do that in league. So you've got to be fitter, you've got to be more conditioned because it's a more physical game. And I think that's the edge that league players have. That is the edge that, as a league player, you don't have heavy forwards. You have guys who are quick. You've got guys who are strong. You've got guys who are powerful. And that is, I feel, the advantage of league.
Okay. Dennis, let me come to you as a captain because Jamina has mentioned about, not having heavy forwards and that. In conventional rugby, like what we watched at the Rugby World Cup with South Africa winning, if you've got jersey 1 to 8, we know you're one of the forwards, the big battering rams. Then you've got 9 to 15, the lighter and the quicker guys. Just take us through how the 13 players are organized within a rugby league side.
The rugby league side on the 13th formation, you still have forwards. So in the forwards, you have a prop, a hooker, and a prop. But if the league hooker gets to execute the game plan on the forward side, then the dummy half pairs with the middles, or rather the centers, and the wingers. So it's still the set of forwards and a back line, and then we have a fullback.
All right.
Yes.
Ido, let me come to you because it's been a very interesting season. She mentioned that any side in the top 5 would have won. So just tell us, unaweza changanya shenga hapo kidogo, at least ukwe at home. Just tell us about the season because two competitions were played. One is a knockout phase. There was a knockout competition, and then there was the league competition. Just tell us about those two and what you have seen, or over the past 2 seasons.
Okay, for me, I played in this last season, and my first game I played it was in the semis. Yeah, we played against Wolves, and they won. Yeah, they defeated us. And on our side, there were some players who were injured, so we didn't have enough numbers, and there were new players who are there, and we believe coming next season, for now they have catch up. Coming next season, they'll be at least a better player so that we'll be able to at least win something next season.
Yeah. And let me come to you, Jamina, because one of the things you mentioned is for full membership is Women's Rugby League. Just tell us about how this has been picked up.
So, I mean, not just by the fact that I'm a woman, but because of the fact I'm a woman, I'm also very interested in women's sport, and so we, as a federation, know that having a women's side rather is important, and yes, for full member status, we do need a women's side. So the women played through the league. We had AP beating Wolves in the final. And now going into the international season, the girls have, started pulling their, numbers together so that they can start training officially. And they will have a game against Uganda later on in December. We've got a home game and an away game, again, required for that full membership status, but also just to get our girls playing international games. I think there's a lot of potential. The mean age of the girls in the league is maybe 22, and that is fantastic for me because they've got years to play. When you're looking at the World Cup, men's and women's in 2026, 2028, and I believe maybe 2030, we've got players for years. I mean, we're not looking at, of course, we're looking at younger people as well, bringing them up into the system. But the people who are already there, already existing, already understand the game of rugby league are the same people we're looking to use. Then they will be much more experienced, and they'll be able to carry the team. Like in rugby, tunasema utabeba team. Those are the guys we're going to use.
Okay, and we're talking about developing the youngsters. And I know in Winam, I've seen for Winam being based outside of, the closer Kisumu, just as you get into town. What have you seen with the youngsters there, as they try to pick up the sport, rugby league?
Okay, for Winam, we have many youngsters. Many of them are still in high school in Form 2 and Form 3. Even we have some who are in primary, in class 7 and 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When the school breaks, we usually talk with them, train them, so that they can catch up. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Danish, let me come to you now. And this is something that, you've got the experience. Having, when you got invited to play in the Middle East Africa, championship, you played against Ghana, you played against Cameroon, as was mentioned. What were the things that you found out about these two countries? Because interesting enough, Cameroon may not be that big on union, but they really have picked up on league.
Notably, experience was their better advantage. But I'd say from our leagues locally here for the last 2 seasons, players are picking up quite well. The level of competition, as the team manager has noted, has been quite high. Notably, all the teams that were in the semis, you couldn't predict who could win. It was a tight encounter for the 4 teams. It's been a crop of young boys and experienced players. And going forward to the call-ups and the camps, it's a great improvement from Mia. And for the starting international season, whoever is going to meet Team Kenya should expect fireworks, because it's a good blend of now experience and young boys coming up. The level of enthusiasm is up. They want to learn the sport. It's a new sport in Kenya. Somebody will always want to experience something new, and everyone is happy about the sport.
Now, looking ahead at playing against South Africa, what is it that, as usual, the era of YouTube and video sharing has improved what you find out about other teams. What is it that you found out about South Africa and how they play?
South Africans, they basically play more of a fast game. They have quite big forwards. But from our side, we've trained quite well to counter that. We have quite fit boys. We've trained on how to counter the breakdowns and how to manipulate the attack to get our maximum points, so that for the full-time score, we'll be leading. Yeah.
Doesn't look like a cricket score.
I tried to counter.
All right. Now, let me come to you, Ido.
Yes.
Just simply, just tell us, what has that training camp been for the national team ahead of year 2 of South Africa? What are some of the things that have been, put inside the team?
Okay, in our training camp, we've been working on our moves, and we've worked also in our game plans with the coach in the areas of, let me say, attack. Yeah, I've really worked on our attack. There's some areas which we had problem, but during the last 2 camps that we had, we worked on them and we finalized them yesterday. Yeah, and we're ready to face South Africa. And I promise when we go there, we'll mean it. Yeah.
All right, and let me come to you, Jamina. For eventually playing South Africa, I think this is something that has been in the pipeline. Everyone has been waiting for it. South Africa say give a reason. They say we are afraid of coming to Kenya, but you tell them, "Kuna matata, come." But eventually, 1 year later, you're traveling. What the whole feeling for the league family in Kenya?
I think this is amazing. This is the first tour we have actually planned and executed. So this is like, it's that first game you guys sat down and said, we want to do this. How are we going to make it work? And it's okay. They don't want to come to us. We'll play both games down there. They're both test matches, both count for ranking points. They're ranked 21st, 26th, we're ranked 31st. So for us, it's all guns blazing, when we're going into this game.
And how do we catch up with this? Tell us.
How do we catch up, on rankings?
On Wednesday and on Saturday when you're playing the 2 matches.
Well, there is a link. We're, on our social media, we'll be posting the links for the games. They'll be streaming live from South Africa. Follow Rugby League Kenya on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. The link will be posted there so that all our fans, all the people, everybody who is rugby league friendly or even has an interest, follow us.
Captain, to the young people, tell them about this sport and what is exciting about it.
To the young boys, this sport is quite interesting. That is one. You'll have to enjoy it, watching your teammates play, and as well playing on the field. There are quite a good number of corporates coming in, so as well the young boys can earn a living out of the sport in future. So it's quite good to interact with rugby league. So I encourage young boys to come on board, not only boys but also ladies, because I'm also a coach, and I'd say I coach ladies. So I also say ladies also pick up the opportunities when it comes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That is who is the captain of the Kenya Rugby League team, 13-a-side rugby, and the lady is Damina Duffel. She is the team manager of the side, and we also have debutant Ido Okuta, and they will be traveling to South Africa. They're going to be playing 2 tests against the South African Rugby League sides, and the matches that are going to be played, the first match is on Wednesday, and it will be played at Wonderboom Soid, and the second match will be played in Pretoria. Thank you, and all the best as you travel tomorrow.
Thank you very
May
much.
the skies be safe for you.
Thank you.
As we stay here with El Nino, enjoy the South African summer.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that is the Kenya Rugby League team. We wish them all the best as they play against South Africa. Well, that's it for Sports Check on this Monday morning, where we've had a conversation around that and also seen the launch of mobile clinics, 4 counties in the northern part of Kenya from State House, Nairobi. My name is Daniel Wahome. Thank you for being with us. Coming up next is our Swahili News Bulletin, Kurunzi Mashinani, followed by our interview program. It is known as Tamrini. Thank you for watching. Hal Eid is up next.
Uncle, she...
What?
I didn't know this until Jingjing was already gone. But she was really depressed.
What? People will laugh and think you're crazy.
That's because they didn't lose their child in their 50s, because their child is alive.
It's okay, please calm down, just sit.
What?
Tell you, Nyashinsky gave us some memories. Festival 2023 came to a wrap, and it is only right to agree that the organizers of this event yet again did a fantastic job.